Hello, everyone. This is Father Mark. Happy continued Lenten blessings. This week, we're going to talk about a few things. One of the first things we're going to talk about is in Father Sika's little booklet that we've been going through in Lent on February 22nd, One Wounded Soul at a Time, how we are called to minister to one another. And then this Sunday on the 25th, the title is It's Pivotal, and how those things fall together in life. But I'd begin with Matthew Kelly in his book Rediscover Jesus on the seventh day. He reminds us that Jesus calls us a child of God, that we are children of God. And in being children of God, we are called to minister to one another, which gets us to the Father Sika book. And he reminds us that we are called to care for one another, one individual at a time, the person who's in front of us. That one of the great insights that St. Mother Teresa of Calcutta gave to us, and many saints throughout history, of course, have shared with us. But it is in that insight that we are called to remind ourselves of how we are called to minister to one another, how we are called to be compassionate to one another, how we are called to share our lives with one another. And I've been reading this book from Dynamic Catholic called Nudging Conversions. Carrie Gress is the author of it. And one of the things she talks about is about the pressure and that comes from talking to people about faith and about bringing them back to God. And she uses this wonderful analogy that I found very, very interesting. She said, if you take a piece of ice and place it on the table and you press your finger down upon it and push really hard, what happens to that ice cube? Well, normally what would happen to it is go shoot off in one direction or another. It would not stay underneath your finger because the friction would just take it away. Rather, she says, if you take a piece of ice and you gently put your pressure upon it, then what happens? And it stays and slowly begins to melt away. And in many ways, that is how God cares for us and how he invites us, as Jesus did, to care for one another. Not with an enormous amount of pressure, but rather with gentle compassion, gentle love, gentle mercy, gentle forgiveness. All of those things that bring about the true conversion of heart. And we see that over and over and over again, rather than the loudness, the screaming, the shaking of fists. That never converts. Rather, it's the gentle invitation into life, into love, into hope that brings about true conversion in the life of anyone. Me, you, everyone. It is that gentle invitation to love. And we all know that we have those moments within our lives where we have felt that or lived that moment of conversion, which gets to its pivotal part. Because remembering those moments, remembering that gift given or the gift received, whatever it is for us, helps us to then move forward in our lives and to care for others in the joy of the gospel, in the peace of the gospel, the blessing of the gospel, the compassion of the gospel. That is where Jesus wants us to be. So as we begin our second full Sunday of Lent, we remind ourselves that God calls us to be caring for one another, to love one another as he loves us. God bless. Have a great week.